Previously in my CPU related video, I talked about how a CPU works, what cores are, and how many CPU cores do you actually need. Now, if you want to know more about that stuff, all the links are in the description. Well, keeping all the perks in mind, today I'm going to be discussing what is CPU threads and its whereabouts and what the heck is hyperthreading. Hey guys, this is Akash from TechnoDefine, and in this series we explain some of the complex topics in computer in easy, fun and entertaining way. So if that sounds good to you, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for future updates. Now let's start the video. We all know CPU is nothing but a chip that computes your data and transfer it to the system. CPUs tend to have at least one thread per core, which is very mandatory because the data transfer is happening through a bus that is called thread. Assume like that the railway system is your computer and every single station is your core and the trains are your data. So then your threads are going to be the railway tracks. In short, thread is a route or a way to transfer your data from your system to your CPU or CPU to your system. Now, do many threads per core help your system performance? Well, the answer is yes. The more you use threads per core, the more it helps to transfer that data. But that doesn't help with every single application you throw at it. The two big tech giants Intel and AMD both use more than one threads per core concept in their CPUs with different marketing names, of course. Intel introduced hyperthreading in 2002 and AMD used IBM's simultaneous multi-threading from 1968. Those are basically the same for a peace of mind. Now moving on. After Intel introduced hyperthreading, it took 8 years to developers develop softwares optimized for hyperthreading. And now hyperthreading is a major strength for Intel's CPU and SoC market. In the last few years of CPU evolving duration, hyperthreading played a major role to give consumer great performance machines. Intel got to the attention of the gaming world better than AMD because of hyperthreading until Ryzen came along. Till the day, hyperthreading is playing a big fat role to consumers for computing and increasing the performance by demand. As a matter of fact, let's pick two Intel CPUs, one with hyperthreading and one without, and compare it on 2015's title Far Cry 5. When Far Cry 5 launched, it demanded 4 solid cores to run, and back then majority of the CPUs didn't have 4 solid cores. And the writer of this video, Tushar, was a Far Cry enthusiast. I hope he still is. And after the game launched, he installed the game on his system, which was his first system, and it was run by a Core 2 Duo E8600. But it failed to run even though he had 8 gigabytes of RAM, which was enough for the title. So he goes to the Ubisoft forum and checked, and he came to know that dual core CPUs ain't the player for it. But on the other hand, he watched one of his friends installing that game on a system which was also a dual core system, an i3 2120, and he ran the game pretty well. So what's the problem here? Well, Tushar's CPU E8600 is not a hyperthread CPU, or was not a hyperthread CPU, and his friend's i3 2120 was a hyperthreaded CPU. So the conclusion is the hyperthreading enabled the dual core CPU to handle a quad core heavy task. So that's how a CPU world of hyperthreading is a better executor on the behalf of the budget system over the years. Now more threads unlocks the CPU to access several multi-threaded tasks simultaneously. In the modern day industry, a CPU with hyperthreading or simultaneous multi-threading is considered as a more valuable product for your money. In modern system, threads are compared as virtual cores, aka logical processors. Having multiple threads unlocks the ability for you to throw some extra task while the core is previously engaged. Multithreading provides an enhanced system performance without adding more cores to the CPU or more juice per core to be sucked on it. Okay, this was a good one, but it was inappropriate. But it was good one, Tushar. I have to give you credit for that. So to sum it up, if CPU cores executes your data, then threads help your core to get those data, and having more cores means that your CPU can get those data much more faster and much more efficiently. But again, threads are not only the thing that makes your CPU faster or much more efficient. There are some other factors like the clock speed. It also can make your CPU faster or slower. But hey, that's a video for another day. But before leaving you guys, I just want to say this episode is written by Tushar. He is one of my good friends, and I think some of you guys already know him if you watched the Halloween stream which I did last month. So officially now he joined the channel as a writer, so give him some love in the comment section, and I have linked down his YouTube channel and also his Insta ID. So yeah, follow him on Insta and subscribe to his YouTube channel where he do his live streams, and again show him some love in the comment section. And I hope that you guys like the video. I really enjoyed the video or the script that he wrote. And if you liked it, hit the like button. If you don't, leave it a dislike. But remember one thing, this time you will be not only hurting me but also hurting Tushar. So remember that you will be hurting two people just for one dislike. So I don't think that's a fair choice, but again, it's you. Do whatever you like, and if you want to watch more videos from us, check out this video right here. And if you want to subscribe, well, go ahead and do it by here. And there's Akash, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.